I don't wear wireframe glasses anymore because I got hit so hard in the face. I think that's in the book, that the little thingies, nose things that are there, cut into my nose, and my nose was actually raw.
Me personally, I wouldn't take this level of disrespect.
What up? Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. Fabulous followers, Fabettes and Fab Kings. What y'all doing? This video is in response to the overly saturated videos, updates about the domestic violence incident between Cuzzo AB and Rena Maria. I decided to do this video because I feel we don't give enough light to the severity of DV, but we also don't hear enough about it in the LGBTQ community and the different effects, perceptions, as well as just a call to action on and around the subject. So like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell, tell a friend to tell a friend. Come on back to the video.
No talking, let the slaughter commence. For those who claim king, but low-key softer than Prince. If we was talking cars, maybe Joker at best. And if so, Heath Ledger, I still lay him.
Alright, Fabby followers, I'm back. Before I get started, I want to say a couple of things. One, you guys know I've been residing in a hotel for the last month. And hopefully within the next 30 days, I will be beginning a new job and transitioning into my own apartment. Another thing I want to say is I did not feel like trying to get everything angle right with the rear facing camera, so I'm on the front facing camera. I did not bring my ring light, but I have my TikTok light. So that's the lighting and video quality backstory. But before I got started with this video, because last night I wanted to record and it was just hitting me very emotional. Since I watched Rena Maria's video, I'll be honest, it struck a nerve for multiple reasons. One, it was a trigger to some PTSD of my own experiences with DV. But two, it hurt because when I first started my YouTube channel, and I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do, I had been watching couples, like gay couples, gay series, things like that, couples channels, but I hadn't really seen any solo LGBTQ people doing YouTube. I came up on Cuzzo AB from her mukbang channel and sector, and she was also doing merch at the time. She was living in that house, I think Dallas, and she was making merch with her friend Jonathan in her garage. And I remember wanting to get into merch because of watching her. I remember wanting to do mukbanging because of watching her. And I just really enjoyed the person she was. I saw her go through the thing with whatever happened with her and her ex, and then Callie came along, the baby, and you know, her just always being so positive and so influential. And trust me, I know about me just like I know about Robin Williams and all the other people that come up before a camera and encourage others and breathe life in others and speak positivity and be dying inside. Most of us comedic people learn to be comedic to hold our own pain, but also we know what it feels like to make other people feel better, and making other people feel better ultimately brings us some of an upliftment. But what Cuzzo doesn't know yet, that I found out through my journey, and I'll be 50 this year, she's probably 20 years my junior, younger than me, the more work, self-work you do, the more work you can do on others. When self is not okay, eventually you just fall apart and you start inflicting your pain and your wounds on other people. You have to heal. You have to find self-love, self-joy, self-peace, date self, be alone. Like I said, I'm old now. It took me a while to get this. I thought you were supposed to have the next relationship a week before the current relationship ended. I'm just putting that out there. So that alone time was not something that I chose to do. But my breakup in 2016 that drug on to 2018 and even a little bit into 2020 was really traumatic for me. You know, when you're dealing with a narcissist, it breaks your soul, not just your heart. And so I took a lot of more healing time than I would have in another situation to make sure that I did not put that on the next person in my life. And honestly, I didn't think I even wanted a next person. I was just that hurt and depleted. I had kind of ended a long-term relationship over 20 years with my best friend. And so, and then some things between my mom and I. And so it was like a time of cutoff, just a lot of things being cut off. So being alone at first was like about healing and being sad and not wanting to affect nobody else. But coming out of COVID and realizing all the blessings around me and really taking my time and being in therapy and doing the work, I started to enjoy the single life. I started to enjoy loving me, spoiling me. I used to feel bad to buy myself something, because you got to think, I went from a young teen single mom to dating women with children, etc., right? And being the masculine person, you're always expected to be more the gift giver than the other, right? The provider. So I started providing for self and dating self. And you know, a big thing that me and my ex did was always travel to celebrate each other's birthdays. We really showed out for each other's birthdays. So when that was over, I was like, man, now my birthday is nothing again. So I started doing my solo trips, and last year was the solo cruise. This year was supposed to be Brazil, but then grandbaby came along, and that's why I'm here in another state now. So the alone time and the peace felt so healing that then when you think you're ready to put yourself back into the dating sector again, you're so cautious. And believe me, that cautiousness has benefited me, because even though I fell emotionally for people since then, I still had enough pause in me to really see things through and see it for what it was, and upset the person because they know you can see the real. But said all that to get to the topic of DV. I'm no expert, let me put that out there. I've worked in the field. I've been the victim. I've been the abuser. For me, I grew up seeing DV with my mom and her different partners. Some of it dangerous. If you've read my autobiography, then you would know those stories. Maybe there's some things even discussed in some previous videos. But when you're growing up, you think, oh, I'll never be like that. Or, you know, me coming up wanting to be masculine, I always said, I'm going to be the man. I'm not going to be like those men my mom was. I'm going to be a different man, right? Having an older brother with schizophrenia, oldest brother probably just self-medicated and have similar symptoms. Then my younger brother came along later in life, schizophrenic as well. Seems like the girls in our family, it's more about anxiety, depression. Maybe some of them have some bipolar. We're not going to talk about too much because I'm here to talk about me, not them. And I don't need no more family backlash. What was it? Anyway, so when I started my relationships and life in general, I started developing a lot of anxiety. And my anxiety brought about panic and fear and mistrust, and it came off as being volatile. I was very angry easily because I felt like when someone did something, it was always intentional. They meant to hurt me. They don't care about me. And not knowing anything about mental health, because my mom always masks it and wants to deny, you know, this demon in our family. It's an affliction. It's a chemical imbalance. But anyway, there's no blame game. There's acceptance and there's treatment. And I went years, probably into a relationship where I knew I wanted the relationship more than I wanted to continue to be angry, before we started seeking out services, trying to figure out what was really wrong with me. But before that, I was destructive. I was destructive. Even my son would tell you that. Like, even outside of DV, I was always breaking stuff and throwing stuff and having tantrums. Basically, is what it was, right? The 12-year-old hurt girl in me was just tripping out. But when you look at relationships, that comes into the point of DV, because you don't get upset and say, oh, let's talk this out. You get upset and go into that normal rage. You get upset sometimes even in parenting and have a moment of rage. Oh, me, Miss Faye, the woman that every person wanted their kid to be around, the person that took on other people's kids, the person that does so wonderful when they teach in school and daycares. And yes, I gave my son trauma because I became a parent at 18. I didn't really check into my mental health until 27. So what do you think life was like before that for my son, right? A lot of depression, a lot of crying, a lot of anxiety, a lot of pins, living on pins and needles, as some of the relationships describe it. You know, the A- was not okay. The unkept room would never be okay. It just, in hindsight, I would have took a B or C, right? To have a more healthy, wholesome, roundabout, because it doesn't matter how smart, how many times they graduate with honors, mental health is a real thing. It runs rampant in my family. So now you look at those aces on your child and you feel that pull. Same as with a mate. You know how many exes I could wholeheartedly apologize because before I became a victim, I was victimizing. I also matched energy. Going into my mental health and also realizing in the work I did, I was either working with seniors or children. And one thing you could not get on your record was battery, domestic battery, anything like that. So that's when I started trying to have a different level of thinking. Did I still do wrong? Yes. Was it still by the grace of God that those ladies didn't do anything? Yes. Is it thankful to God that I got some help and did some work and don't have anybody's life on my hands? Yes. Because how could you work in the field? Get it? After I became more of a runner, you know, people say, you're so quick to run. You're always running from your problems. Or, you know, some relationship, they call me a police hoe. I'm a crier. All of those things came because I knew I didn't want to continue those old patterns and traits. So now I was challenged in a different way, because when you run in your relationships, a lot of times the woman thinks, oh, you're going to leave to be with somebody else. But no, you're trying to do what you know. Space reduces pressure. So then the woman becomes combative or restrained because they don't want you to leave. Now you feel unsafe and trapped and triggered. I have a mouth on me. And when Rena was saying that, that was one of the first times where I broke. Because I always felt, because of my mental health, and then the way I lash out like that scorpion who stings, because when I'm tired of you doing it to me, and I'm cooler than the fan, and I'm chiller than the most. I mean, I had an ex pour out my medication because I was so cool and chilly and non-combative. Then I'm going to say some slick ass because I'm tired of you poking the bear and I just want you to leave me alone. But that little cutthroat word is going to trigger you more. And that's where you have, when people are not properly healed and people have not dealt with their own, because every time a person places a hand on you, they feel themselves that they need to be beat. It's that old slave mentality, the same reason why people whip kids. It's abuse. It's violence. Violence begets violence. So when you're mad at your child, you're picking them up from school because they're being aggressive, but you whooped them the night before, when you gonna realize you're the problem? So when the tide started to turn, it was because my mouth was my weapon. Women don't like that, especially African American women. they would turn up on your ass quick. And so people started putting their hands on me. I started being locked behind doors. I started being hit with objects, hands. I don't wear wireframe glasses anymore because I got hit so hard in the face. I think that's in the book, that the little thingies, nose things that are there, cut into my nose, and my nose was actually raw for a long time. So now I wear plastic frame glasses because of that experience. There was a time where it happened, I think most of this again is in my autobiography, where I was kind of forced to defend myself and went through a situation that only God could have got me out of. You know, the one thing that I want to resonate here, because I even had to mention it to my son when we were talking about this. A lot of times when the police had to be called, they would always show up expecting to arrest the masculine presenting woman. And I remember, and I was telling my girlfriend this last night, one of the first DV stories I heard growing up as a teenager in Rockford was when a lesbian unalived her female wife. They were married at the time. And I was a teenager, and I was just like, wow, you know, thought we were still in hiding, and it was the nasty woman's disease, and now y'all are taking each other's life. It was wild. So it's like, though it was one of those early memories, it's not something that, like, it doesn't double down on the news. You don't see more of it. But you know what you also don't see? You don't see male victims. You don't see men coming forward, because it's embarrassing, right, to say that this lady putting her hands on me, because we ultimately expect them to be stronger, which most times they are. But they also know they could be unalived just by defending themselves, or having to pay $10,000 to get out of jail just for defending themselves, or ruining their livelihood and their future for defending themselves. And a lot of times the feminine partner is the aggressor. But if the masculine or male does anything to defend themselves or diffuse the situation, they're automatically, at most, you may have a situation where both can be arrested, if you're lucky. But the officer going to be quick to take that masculine male or that masculine presenting female every time. Every time. I better be in my most humblest state and bleeding from somewhere when they show up, if I don't want to have to take longer to explain that I'm the victim, just based on my appearance. And I always took it because I felt like, again, I'm bringing my mental health to the table. You know, I'm emotional now. You know, they got to deal with my crying moods. I go through my bouts of depression. I have anxiety and panic attacks. I have generalized anxiety disorder. It's a diagnosis, but I live well with it. They wanted me to get a check. They wanted me to dummy myself down and just take medication and go to groups and live in housing. But no, I wanted to be proof for my family, my lineage, my nieces, nephews, etc., that you can sustain. Of all the times that I've thought of unaliving myself, and that's another thing I wanted to say about Cousin B. When she gets out of jail, she needs to be placed on suicide watch. A lot of times when people think to unalive their partner, they've already thought of unaliving themselves. The reason why our kids today go out and unalive at the rate they do as kids is because they have no self-love, because parents are not loving and nurturing and spending time and doing floor time and activities, and, you know, mommy and daughter day, and dad's outside interacting with their... So here we are. And when that's rampant, what else do you think is rampant? It's in our communities. It's everywhere. There was a job that I interviewed for, and they literally told me the zip codes that they pick in the city based on the amount of incarcerated parents, DV in the home, income guidelines. Like, damn, not only is it saturated to generations, neighborhoods, you know, it reminds you of public housing, right? The call to action is not only to shed a light about who all could be a victim and what that victimization looks like. The call to action is to realize that no love is pain, and it's safer to be safe and go. It starts slow in the mind and it progresses. I think King's Corner has said something about that. You know, the abuse starts before the abuse starts. And that is so very true. Sometimes it could be with them overfeeding you or helping to defame your image so nobody else will want you. And when you think that, you allow them to do more to you. Get out, get help. If your family member's in a situation but they're trying to keep it quiet and they're going back, stay on them. Stay on them. Stay vigilant. Stay in contact. Do pop-ups. Beg them to walk away. Because sometimes the person is too unhealthy to realize that what they're doing is wrong and dangerous. So it is up to the victim to choose to save their own life. No love, not even from parent. If your parent was abusing you, the system would come in and remove you. So if your partner is abusing you, you have to remove yourself. And if it's unsafe, make a plan. Do it safely. I ain't trying to be funny, but y'all seen how Tina got away from Ike?
Emotional, damn it!
Do what you gotta do. Always keep some hidden funds. Know the signs. The pulling the hair, the small starting stuff, the taps to see, you know, checking your energy. The person is sick and you can help them better from a safe distance. You can't help them while you're in it. They will break your spirit and they could possibly take your life. Thanks for watching this video. Leave your comments. Make sure you like. If you've been subscribed, check to make sure you still subscribe. I'm gonna be dropping a video, maybe even before this. I did a review because I had to put myself in a different energy because I knew this was gonna be emotional. So I did a review on some Pop Daddy pretzel snacks, and then I'm going to take them to KJ's family tomorrow. So yeah, if this video resonated with you, just drop a comment. All right, you know what to do.
And you still gotta feel me. A house is a heart, I don't own no realty. Thought I paid my dues, but the game still billed me. They took my innocence, no surprise I pled guilty. Used to love to hit the court, now I hate to go. Used to rake leaves for money, now they pushing snow.